Hey beautiful people! How are you 5th graders? Welcome to the science video number 5 for this semester, and we came to the end of chapter 1. In this chapter we'll talk about plants nutrition. We said that plants have 3 different patterns of nutrition. Green plants are autotrophs, they are producers since they produce their own food. Symbiotic plants have special relationships with other organisms to get the food they need. Carnivorous plants are the plants that consume insects to absorb and find the nutrients they need to live and grow healthy. Now, what do green plants need to grow? Actually, green plants need 4 different things. They take sunlight energy from the sun. They use their stomata to take in carbon dioxide from the air. They absorb water from the soil with their roots, and they take also minerals from their roots. Green plants put water and carbon dioxide together in the presence of sunlight energy to produce their food, which is a kind of sugar called glucose. While going through the food making process called photosynthesis, plants release oxygen. Then plants use the food they made, which is the sugar, with the oxygen that they breathe in to produce the ATP energy that is essential for their growth. While breathing, while going through the respiration process, plants release carbon dioxide and water. Last lesson in this chapter talks about the carbon cycle in nature. Let me use these two equations, the photosynthesis equation and the respiration equation. In the carbon dioxide, we can clearly see the carbon. This is the carbon that is one of the components of the carbon dioxide. Sugar. This is the formula of the glucose. Carbon is also found in the glucose. Carbon is one of the most important elements in nature. It makes up almost all living things, and it is found in the water, in fossil fuels, in the air, in dead bodies, in our bodies, in plants, animals, and people bodies. And this carbon is recycled in nature. This process of recycling carbon in nature is called the carbon-oxygen cycle. This cycle shows the transfer of carbon between the atmosphere and living things. First of all, during photosynthesis, plants take in the carbon from the carbon dioxide to produce their food, which is a kind of sugar. While going through photosynthesis, plants release oxygen. People, animals, and plants breathe this oxygen and they breathe out carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So, all living things breathe in oxygen and give off carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Also, the oxygen released by plants is used for burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, gasoline, and different other gases. When we burn these fossil fuels, we are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. When living things die, when people, animals, and plants die, their bodies are decomposed by decomposers. Decomposers such as fungi, bacteria, let's say earthworms, cockroaches, some ants, they decompose dead bodies into minerals. One of these minerals is the carbon. So, decomposers decompose dead bodies and release carbon into the soil. This carbon is a mineral used by the plant to live and grow healthy. Okay, and these dead bodies, these minerals, this carbon is changed to fossil fuels in millions of years. Okay, so can you notice that this is a whole circle? It never ends. Plants take carbon dioxide, plants take carbon dioxide, they release oxygen. This oxygen is taken by living things, they breathe it, and they release carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Again, this carbon dioxide will be used by the plants for photosynthesis. The oxygen released right here is used by power plants, by cars, by factories, um, to burn fossil fuels. Burning release also carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, when living things die, when people, animals, and plants die, decomposers decompose their dead bodies and release carbon into the ground. Plants use minerals for their growth, and these the result of decomposition of dead bodies is turned and changed into fossil fuels in millions of years. Fossil fuels are used, we burn them, and then we produce carbon cycle. So here we can clearly see that carbon is recycled in nature. It is transferred between the atmosphere and living things. Check the processes happening during the day. Plants are going through photosynthesis. They take carbon dioxide from the air and they release oxygen. Oxygen is taken by living organisms that breathe out carbon dioxide. Also, in houses, in factories, in cars, buses, different vehicles, fossil fuels are burned and carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. When living things die, decomposers decompose them and the carbon found in the soil is changed into fossil fuels in millions of years. Now, what happens what happens at night? At night, there is no sunlight energy. Plants aren't going through the food making process. They aren't taking CO2 from the atmosphere. They are breathing. They take oxygen. They release carbon dioxide. Birds take oxygen. They release carbon dioxide. Cows breathe in oxygen. They release carbon dioxide. And for electricity, we burn fossil fuels, and while burning fossil fuels, we are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The carbon atom, carbon starts inside a CO2 molecule inside the carbon dioxide in the air. So in here, the carbon dioxide is in the air. This carbon dioxide is taken in by the plants to produce sugar, and when they go through the food making process, plants release oxygen. Living things absorb or breathe in oxygen, and they release carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide found in the air can be taken by the water. Okay? And the plants found in the water use this carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. They go through photosynthesis, they release oxygen. Animals breathe in this oxygen and they release carbon dioxide in the water. This carbon dioxide can pass through the air. Okay, I will reset this and let's restart. Carbon dioxide in the air is taken by, let's see, the plants again. Plants use this carbon dioxide to make their food. They release oxygen. Oxygen plus fossil fuel in power plants, يعني in factories, in cars, in different vehicles. We burn this fossil fuel and we get carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide can't pass in the water again. It's used by the plants. Plants release oxygen. This oxygen is breathed in by the marine animals, animals in the water. This water release carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide can pass into the air. Okay, so it is a never-ending cycle that is used, that happens in nature to recycle the carbon, which is one of the most important elements in nature. So we're done. This is the end of our lesson. I'm not going to repeat, but I want you to know that you have to identify the different forms that carbon takes in the carbon cycle. The carbon dioxide is taken by the plants for photosynthesis. By photosynthesis, plants release oxygen. Animals and plants breathe, and they release again carbon dioxide into the air. The oxygen released by photosynthesis can be used for burning fossil fuels. By burning fossil fuels, we are releasing carbon dioxide into the air. And don't forget that when living things die, they are decomposed by decomposers, and the carbon is turned back to the soil. In millions of years, the carbon in the soil changes into fossil fuel. If you still have any questions about the lesson, feel free to ask. Bye bye. See you on Thursday.